Well, it was supposed to rain today. I thought it was going to rain all day, but now they're saying this afternoon. So I went ahead and booked a couple loads to run this week, because if it's going to be muddy, I ain't going to be getting no field work done. But yesterday I was trying to cut grass, and our lawnmower kept giving me issues. I killed it twice, and both times the battery was dead for some reason, so I had to jump it, and the second time it wouldn't start back up. It would just roll over. So I'm going to try to fiddle with that for a minute, try to get this grass cut before the rain comes, because I think it's supposed to rain tonight now, and I think a day or two this week is what the weather app was showing. So I'd like to have that done, and then if it's not raining by the time I get finished with that, I'm going to take the side-by-side and run around to these fields that are going into beans. Up by the road, there's some trash that blew in and people threw out, so I need to run through those and pick that up. But let's see if we can get this grass cut real quick. We bought this little Cub Cadet back in 2013, and it was a pretty good machine for a while. It's got a 54-inch fabricated deck on it and a 24 horsepower Kohler engine. It's got 504 hours on it, and it leaks oil from every spot you can think of. 2 years ago, I went through and took the valve covers off, resealed them, and there was a couple plugs that fell out and stuff, and we resealed, put those back in and tightened them. And it still just leaks like crazy. But the motor, I think, is kind of wore out on it, because for the last 2 years, hot or cold, it won't start unless you use ether. So I don't think it has much compression anymore. But we bought that zero turn because the motor, well, it'd be the third motor, and this Cub Cadet finally took its last mow. And by the time we went to get a new motor for this one again, they don't make that. It's a Kohler 17 horse, and you can't buy that exact replacement motor anymore, or engine, whatever you want to call it. But so it just kind of sits here, and I think one day we're going to try to get something different to modify to put in its place. But it's just been sitting here for the last 13, now was it 7, 8 years. So we'll get it figured out eventually. This Farmall Cub here used to be what we did most of our mowing with. We did about half the mowing with that and half the mowing with that Cub Cadet. And between the two of those, you can cover some ground. But that zero turn, it covers the same amount of ground them two will, in my opinion. I had it on the battery charger for a little bit, so it should start. Well, hopefully, because I haven't really figured out why it wouldn't start yesterday. So we're going to see if it'll start now. Well, it fired right up. Yesterday I spent a good 20 minutes in the middle of the yard trying to get it to start, and it wouldn't. It would just roll over and roll over. So I'm not sure what the problem was. But we're gonna go cut some grass real quick. Well, we just finished up with the grass. It still isn't raining, so I guess we're gonna take the side-by-side here and go run around to these fields that are going into beans. I drove down the road earlier today and seen a bunch of trash, so I'm gonna run around and pick some of that up. This is my 2021 Can-Am Commander XT 1000R. I just picked this up 2 days ago. Today's Sunday, so I picked it up on Friday. and so far I really like it. I've only put 12 miles on it, and I think I'm going to enjoy it. I have 2 complaints. One complaint being the cup holders, which are right there on the floor. They're really awkward to get to. And 2, is I've been so used to a bench seat and not having doors, so I used to just slide in and out. Now you kind of, it's a little bit more of a hassle, but that's not going to be too big of a deal. Let's talk about the Can-Am here. I know I just had a couple videos come out of me repairing my Polaris Ranger, and I had full intentions on keeping that for a while. But Thursday, my buddy called me and asked if I wanted to ride with him to go pick up his new side-by-side. I said, sure, why not? I ain't got nothing going on. Well, we were at the dealer about a whole 30 seconds, and I seen that, and I wanted it. It's a pretty good crossover. It's real sporty, plus it still has a full-size bed so I can use it around the farm. The Ranger was a good machine. I really liked it. The biggest complaints I had with it were it being underpowered sometimes, and it had 0 ground clearance, and it was top heavy. So when we would go down in the trails and ride, or go up to some parks and ride, it wasn't a very fun machine. I kind of had to putt around, and I couldn't crawl over stuff, and it was always a pain. So for the last couple years, I talked about, in the future, getting something that's a good crossover. I was actually last year looking at a Polaris General, and I wasn't a huge fan of those. They're kind of uncomfortable to me, I thought. So this thing here, it's my Ranger was a 570. This is a 1000. The Ranger had 45 horsepower. This has 100. I think my Ranger had 10 or 11 inches of ground clearance, and this has 15 inches of ground clearance. So it should do a lot better on the trail rides and stuff like that. And plus, I was into it. I was like, yeah, I want that machine. But it was all going to come down to if they wanted to take a trade, trade mine. And a year ago, I tried to trade mine, and they said they would only give me $3,000 on trade. Well, it was 4 years old. I paid $12,000 for it brand new, so I kind of just backed out of that deal. But on this one, they ended up telling me they'd give me $6,000 for trade-in. So it was 5 years old, and they give me $6,000. I didn't think that was too bad of a deal. So with that and this, it kind of just happened. It was not planned at all. So, but this so far, I think I'm really gonna like it. Like I said, I've put 12 miles on it, and it handles the stuff that I needed to do around here so far. I just got a wire and a plug so I can put my little spot sprayer in the back. And it was supposed to come with a windshield, but they didn't have any, so they said they would have it this week, so I have to go pick that up when it comes in. Overall, I think this is going to be way better. I don't really have much experience with anything. I had an Articat four-wheeler back in the day. I wasn't a fan of it, and I've had that Polaris Ranger for 5 years, and it was a good machine for what we did with it mostly. So I'm hoping a Can-Am will last for a good while, because I don't plan on getting rid of that for a long time, if ever. So, but I just thought I'd fill you in on what that was all about. I kind of wasted my time and money fixing that Ranger. Put $400 worth of tires on it, and then I drove it 3 miles and traded it in, along with the wheel bearings and ball joints and control arm bushings. But it is what it is. You just never know what you're going to find in your field next to the highway. And here we got a pretty nice looking wheel. Tire looks in pretty good shape, but obviously his lug nuts all broke off. Well, there wasn't too much trash. I picked this up. I still got to take the skid loader up there and push some junk out of the way that keeps blowing in, but this was just the stuff that I really noticed right off the bat. So got that, throw that in the dumpster. And
from the west side